All right, well, thank you. We'll go to the third installment of Shasta Palooza. We'll talk a little about the Shasta Huckleberry. So we're not going to be on limestone, oddly enough. Do a quick geology lesson, a little bit of the historical context of the species, and then a little bit about the physical characters and the habitat. So the Shasta Palooza species, all the ones we're going to hear about today, we got a red pointer, are in the southeastern Klamath Mountains, and really we're talking about the eastern part of the southeastern Klamath Mountains around Shasta Lake. It's a really old relic landscape, not subject to the volcanic activity of the Cascades, some of the glaciation that went on up in the rest of the Klamath Ranges, and of course we're north of the Coast Range, the valley, and the Cascade and Sierra Nevada foothills. And in normal situations, in addition to this unique relic landscape, it's high levels of rainfall, particularly for inland California. So you have a unique set of circumstances, kind of on an old relic landscape. And another interesting way to look at this is this USGS product that combines the geology, age, and topography. And without going into a lot of detail, the southeastern Klamath Mountain sits up in this kind of distinctive polygon of old geology. And take a mental note of this, what we call the Cascades Gap. We're going to come back to that a little bit too. So with that as a backdrop, the Shasta Huckleberry story starts up at a place called the Afterthought Mine, which is just a little bit east of Redding. And in 1900, Milo Baker discovered, or made what ended up being the first collection of the species. Another collection by James McMurphy ended up being the second one in the hill of Kennett, which is an old mining town, now in the waters of Shasta Lake. One of the prominent families in Kennett were the Galinskis, and in addition to many businesses and roles among town, they had a copper mine in the surrounding hills. The copper mine eventually made its way into Forest Service ownership, and co-author, partner in crime with this species, Julie Nelson, and some other Forest Service folks made a trip up to the mine in 1991, where she found what looked like red huckleberry going in a really weird spot. That stand of shrubs is still there today, in fact. So she made what ends up now being the most recent historical collection of the species, noting that the berries were dark purple. Julie stumbled across this again at another nearby mine in the following year, and so we're stuck from that point on with this conundrum of what do you call a blue huckleberry, a red huckleberry, that's not red. So we'll fast forward to 2003 and the Bureau of Reclamation's proposal to raise Shasta Dam, and that spawned a whole litany of additional technical studies, during which we found a couple more populations of the species, of the huckleberry that is. We began to just treat it as a new species, and with that we determined just some basic information, habitat range, number of occurrences, and so on. So by 2009 we had expanded on that quite a bit. I mean, relatively speaking. We expanded the range from the Galinsky mine area several miles and got a little bit better handle on some of its habitat. That led us into a study where we looked at the DNA, comparing the Shasta Lake populations to Washington, Oregon, the North Coast, and then some interesting, what were considered at the time parvifolium populations with dark fruits in the southern Sierra Nevada. Came out nice and distinct for us, and added to the body of evidence that we had building that we had something unique. The dark brown morphology, totally different distribution, crazy different habitat, and then of course genetic distinct genotypes. So during some additional discovery, we learned of some more what were considered parvifolium populations in the northern Sierra Nevada. So just to cover our bases, we collected across 6 populations in 5 counties and ran those through the same genetic test that we had done prior. And notice that gap we talked about, it's right here. So the results of this DNA study showed that these grouped with the southern Sierra Nevada and did not show a genetic climb towards the species up in the north. So that worked well for us as well. So then it was after herbaria where we looked at over 250 specimens of parvifolium and what ended up being Shastense, and after that, there's this wrapping up loose ends, after countless miles of running around, exposure to tons of poison oak, trying to find all the historic Sierra Nevada collections, barefoot crossings, and cliff scaling. And those who know me know what's closest I get to barefoot is Birkenstock, so I gave it up for the study. A way too long chat with some naked guy. Several draft manuscripts, 12 years or so of work. I'm still hurting after that. So 24 years after Julie's Walensky mine trip and 115 years after Milo Baker's ingot collection, we finally have a name for these things that came out in my journal last fall. So the obvious character difference was that dark fruit. They're glaucous, quickly deciduous, also noting this, we call this broad hypanthium scar. You can see the difference between the two. Probably the better character, though, is, because you can just see it more throughout the year, is this enrolled ciliate leaf margin. You can see it even on this photo here. I took photos of the fruits and ended up with a good picture of the leaf margin. Really bright pink flowers, and flowers very early, particularly the Shasta subspecies, even into December. They're starting in December. Distinctly pitted seed surface versus the striated seed surface on parvifolium, and the habitat. Old abandoned mines, other disturbed sites, perennial creeks with acid mine discharge, intermittent streams in the forest, a general forest understory or on little rocky outcrops, wide open cliffs, really crazy to see a parvifolium look like up there, springs and seeps and rock outcrops. It seems to sprout after fire, does really well, at least in these situations. So as of today, this is what we now know, the restricted range. It's about a 30 miles crescent of right above Shasta Lake, and that's the range of our Shasta subspecies. Our paper also includes an updated key to the California vaccinium, and we named 2 subspecies. And as far as parvifolium and the Shastense and the 2 Shastense subspecies goes, we made it real easy. If you can read this map, you're all set. If you're in the Sierra Nevadas, you've got something that looks like vaccinium parvifolium. You have Sierra Nevada huckleberry, of course, the Shasta Huckleberry up around Shasta Lake. So just have to look at this picture. No confusing couplets or anything. With that, probably at the time, I'll thank the Bureau of Reclamation and a whole bunch of other people that have helped us out along the way. And thank you folks for your time today.